Hello, my name is Nathan Taylor, and this will be my presentation of the Qantas fleet grounding dispute of 2011. This multimodal presentation will show and analyse the outcomes and the problems that were faced when the operations of Qantas were stopped temporarily in 2011. The dispute was between Qantas and the workers of Qantas due to pay and work conditions and outsourcing of jobs. ABC stated the airline is fighting with its pilots, ground staff and engineers over pay conditions and outsourcing of jobs overseas. The dispute started within August of 2010 and continued into 2011 until the event was solved. The CEO of Qantas came under fire for what was happening within the dispute, and how the dispute was handled, and how the events were resolved with the help of Fair Work Australia, the Australian Government, and also Flight Commission. Resolved the dispute. Mr. Joyce, CEO of Qantas Internationally, stated that we are locking out until the unions withdraw their extreme claims and reach an agreement with us. The actions by three unions representing and making problems that involve engineers, baggage and catering staff and long-haul pilots. The dispute had been occurring for many months before the grounding due to the pay conditions. Qantas CEO once again stated, we are locking out until the unions withdraw their extreme claims and reach an agreement with us. The government applied to the industry umpire for the suspension of the dispute between Qantas and the three unions. Qantas grounded its whole fleet in response to the counting strike actions by the employees. Qantas lost $195 million US. The government was concerned about grounding of the fleet, also as the event could have problems and effects on the economy of Australia, and also made Qantas stocks fall in value. The actions that were undertaken by the parties that were involved were mostly lawful and were managed to make the event solved and to make all the parties satisfied with the outcome when the dispute started in 2010. There was many concerns over the treatment of the staff and pilots, as they were not being paid as highly as they should have, and there was the growing risk of the Australian Qantas community's jobs being taken by overseas and international people to take their jobs at a cheaper rate of pay. The effects to the Qantas employees: loss of their jobs, loss of their pay. It will be effective most Qantas employees, but also during the fleet grounding, the company also lost $195 million US of flight and revenue, which also led to a substantial loss during this financial year. Australian Qantas workers were affected, with other workers not on strike were not able to do their jobs and not being able to be paid during this time. The laws need to be altered to help and make sure that this event couldn't have affected other airline companies and make the effects of the problem known and resolved. The unions have policies and procedures to deal with fair work claims, how they are resolved. Also, with the altering, there needs to be some legal guidelines set as, during this dispute, some legal boundaries were crossed and were not always done correctly. I highly recommend change so that a set code or format how problems like this will be dealt with in the future could be an option for a group of specialist people that will be able to assemble in a group and sort out disputes with their expert recommendations. This has been Nathan Taylor, and thank you for listening.